Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's preview, Ireland versus Tonga, the second week, first Pool B clash of the weekend. And it is Ireland who absolutely hammered Romania a week ago, taking on Tonga, who entered the fray as a potential underdog. Well, they've always been an underdog, but a potential banana peel team, for the World Cup. A potential upset in the making is what people are talking about in terms of being one of the sides who, thanks to the new World Rugby, laws with regards to sort of homegrown players and players being able to sort of switch nations, go into this World Cup with a couple of stars, a couple of former All Blacks, for example, and are a much stronger outfit than I think they have been in former years. Now, we all know that your teams like Fiji, your Tonga, Samoas have always been full of flair, full of big players, very physical, but have always sort of lacked that final edge to really make themselves or put themselves on par with your traditional Tier 1 nations. Now, going into this World Cup, they've got a bunch of players who genuinely could start to make them, not contenders for the World Cup, but play a team that can create drama, a team that can actually impact and affect the World Cup with regards to upsets and potential, shocks, results moving forward. So whether this will happen this weekend, we'll wait and see. But Ireland are certainly not taking them lightly, and have named a very, very strong side to take on Tonga tomorrow night. Before we look at the two teams, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Ireland have gone basically full strength. In the front row, they've gone with Andrew Porter, Ronan Kelleher, and Tyke Furlong. Tyke Byrne has switched from the flank to the lock, which opens the door for the return of Josh van der Fleer. James Ryan is into the number 5. So Joe McCarthy, after a brilliant game against Romania, not in the 23 this weekend. Peter O'Mahony, Josh van der Fleer, and Caelan Doris, that very reliable loose trio, do sort of reignite that partnership. So it's a very solid pack. Dan Sheehan will come in at hooker if he was available, but apart from that, they do not get stronger really in that pack, and I think it's still one of the best packs, if not the best packs in the world, next to probably the likes of France and the Springboks. Conor Murray comes to the side. He will start, which is, again, I think that Jamison Gibson Park will probably start in the strongest Ireland side. Johnny Sexton, though, back again, getting some more minutes under his belt. He looked like he hadn't been away last weekend. Yes, it was Romania, but looked very comfortable, and more importantly, looked very fit. James Lowe, Mac Hansen, the two wings. In the centres, Bundy, Aki, Gary Ringrose will reignite that partnership that worked so well last weekend. Hugh Keenan backed at full back. Off the bench, it is Rob Herring, Dave Kilcoyne, Finlay Beelum in the front row. Ryan Bard, Ian Henderson, the other two forwards there. And then we've got Craig Casey, Ross Byrne, and Robbie Henshaw. So there's some class players off the bench. Really big fan of Craig Casey as well. Keen to see how he goes. For the Tongans, up front, it is Siegfried Fasihoy, Pala Ingawu, Ben Tamafina in the front row, with Tamafina actually captaining the side at tight head prop, the 32-year-old. Very experienced front row. All three players well into their 30s. And very heavy, the likes of Tamafina, 151 kgs. That is not an easy man to move. So Andrew Porter will certainly have his work cut out for him. In the second row, it is Sam Lousy next to Halavia Fafita, competing that tight 5. Once again, two big boys in 121, 116 kgs. You've then got the likes of Tanganoe Halafuna, Siona Taliti, and Vaya Fafita completing that loose trio. Vaya Fafita is absolutely world class. Could play for most international teams on his day, if not every international team. And a huge part of why this Tongan side is not one to be written off. The halfback pairing, very important. Augustine Pulu next to William Havili, the 25-year-old, very talented fly half. Really enjoy watching him, and a lot of experience inside of him within Augustine Pulu as well. If you look at the back line, some superstars in the likes of Malachi Fekitoa and Salesi Piatau, great players there and important positions as well. Fekitoa operating at outside centre. He's got Peter Aki inside him. The two wings are Simone Carter and Afosipa Tomiapua. And then off the bench, you've got Sam Moley, Tao Kunuatangi, Sosefu Abikota, Samesi Paya, Salamoni Fanaki, Sione Valenu, Sonotani Takulu, and Fine Inisi, which rounds out the team there. I mean, as usual, when you look at the Tongan side, you're seeing very few players coming in under 100 kgs, for example. The pack weights will be very heavy. Even the backline players, the likes of Solomon Carter at 104 kgs will be one of the biggest wings in the competition. So some big boys, and it's always going to be a very physical match. And the big thing I think when you go into a match against Tonga is injuries, and that's what Ireland I think will be quite wary of, and that's why everybody's quite surprised they've gone with such a strong side, because injuries are a thing in the World Cup, and to go and play against such a big Tongan side and have all your superstars there does open the door for potential injuries. So hopefully that will not be the case, but that does seem to be a bit of a worrying potential narrative that could be on the cards. In terms of match officials, Wayne Barnes will take charge of the match. He'll be assisted by Matthew Carley and Craig Evans. Tom Foley will be your TMO. In terms of previous meetings at the World Cup, previous meetings at all, they've only met each other twice. 2003, Ireland beat them 40 points to 19 with a 21-point margin. And before that, 1987, where Ireland won 32 points to 9. And so not a lot of history between the two. They've only played each other at the World Cup once. That was back in 1987. And so lots of time has passed since these two teams last crossed. If you look at some of the World Cup team notes, and this is the big thing about Ireland, is the fact that they've never gone past the quarterfinals, and they need to. And in terms of this game, it's first of all important to get a victory to continue building that momentum. But again, to get through injury free, to make sure that they're really sort of putting the final piece together, make sure they're going into that quarterfinal with a lot of momentum, because after this game, they're effectively going, sort of Scotland, or they're going South Africa, then Scotland. So it's two big games that Ireland have to try and get past before the playoffs, and then going into the playoffs. So it's not an easy road at all for Ireland, and this is why it's interesting that they've gone so full strength, given how difficult their road is. But what do you think? Give me some score predictions down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.